Hey everyone, so I got into the PTR, which means I can test Espers, but it also means I have no relics. Luckily, I actually do have the best Espers on this account, much better than my main account, to farm up on Kronos. It was during my progression while being stuck on Kronos 16 that I tested out the new Esper Intisar. And honestly, I think she's just amazing. I think she's perfect for Kronos 16, and I'll kind of go over why. Now, as you can see on my new account, I actually have a Gaius, which means I am unethically progressing in the game. And in the beginning of the game, with little effort, relics from story mode, and Q, you can do a ton of damage in the beginning, like that. Now, given that I have the best Espers for the job, and I have a ton of game experience, I still have bottlenecks to my progression in the game. Now, I'm not talking bottlenecks like doing Temporal Tower or doing Sentinel or things like that. I'm talking about just farming relics that I think are necessary for everything else. And this is the first bottleneck, Kronos 12. Now, why is this a bottleneck? It's not just because the difficulty spike, which you can really feel, but it's also because you have to be Kronos 12 to be able to fuse relics. And as we know, fusing relics is the only way to specifically target certain relic slots. So that way you can get your speed slot, you can get your crit damage, or attack, or an HP relic, whatever your main stats are going to be. And I would argue that's even more critical in the early stages of the game when you need to maybe farm up a crit rate relic or an accuracy relic. The point is that Kronos is a point of entry for all other content in the game, and as such, should be one of the easiest to be able to progress with. Now, this is the same team and the same relics that I did Kronos 12 with on the first go. It took me a while to actually beat it, not just in the time, but also in putting the relic sets together. Then you need to add on top of that the gold that was used, the abilimons, and pretty much everything else that was part of this. And as you can see, it still wasn't just a clean run. But luckily, I'm part of the PTR, which means I can give suggestions and try to voice things that I see. And when I have videos like this, I have data. I have how much gold I put in. I can keep track of all those things to kind of give an actual opinion, not just one where I feel a certain way. Now, I just want to show you a little bit about fusing and how important it is. So beat Kronos 12, but we probably weren't able to farm up many 60 relics. Luckily, by doing Cube, we're able to get great relics like this, which are really going to facilitate our progression. Now, they did announce that they're going to change the drop rates and rituals to make them more rewarding, but we'll have to see what that actually means when we get some data. Now, I want to show you Intisar, who I think is an amazing Esper for Chrono 16. I actually used her instead of Gaius because I could not survive it with Gaius. So what makes her great for Chrono 16? Well, the first thing is stealth. She is unable to be targeted by the Kronos pillar while she has stealth on. This means you can build her damage, and you can hit the accuracy cap and not have the greatest of relics. She also has bonuses to the defensive side of things. She has attack down and miss rate up. She also makes your team go faster by boosting their attack and defense breaking the boss. Overall, she contributes a lot. She's definitely more of a team player than a solo damage dealer, but you can get surprising damage out of her. This also creates a unique composition in Chrono 16. In this setup, or this team I have on here, we're actually running Azure Dragon with her, because both have access to stealth, which means that Chrono's Pillar is more likely to target one of your tanky units. So we have Ollie in there just to make us safer, just to prevent the accidental death. Sally, which is an all-star. She provides so much healing and cleansing of the debuffs like the stuns and the defense break, which wreck you. And then we have Odette, who is my favorite to use as a free-to-play friendly Kronos team, and you may have seen it in one of my videos. She offers a great shield, as well as attacking and speed breaking the boss constantly. Now, the team doesn't clear the waves up to the boss very well, but the point was to clear Chrono 16 at least. If I can get a farming safe team, that would be good. But I mostly wanted it set up so that way I can go do the expeditions and get relics out of that. Now, this team does take too long to actually blitz and be victorious. So let's go ahead and speed this up a bit. But I did want to talk about some things that I found pretty interesting while going through this whole setup. Now, the first thing I found that was sort of odd was that I couldn't beat Kronos 16 using Gaius. Maybe if I had really good relics, I could do it, but not at this stage. In fact, Intisar made this possible because of the debuff she offers. I also noticed that whenever I'd get an additional turn or swap forms of Gaius, either to give my team a shield or to do a good burst of damage, the boss would gain AP on every transition. Now, this made me feel like the entire Chrono 16 and probably much of the game was actually balanced around Gaius. And I think the balance has led us to have a very steep curve in a progression, especially for early or mid-tier players. Then you pair that with the fact that Espers that are not strong elementally against Kronos won't actually be able to do much in terms of damage, and they'll receive a ton more damage. And this creates the last funnel of progression, one that I didn't have to suffer through on this account, but many players will, and that's Esper choice. Luckily on this account, I didn't have to go through it like I did my other one, where I didn't have the right tools for the job. And that's what happens when you can only choose certain Espers for a ritual. But I'm in the PTR now, which means that hopefully I can voice these things and some difference will be made. But once again, Intisar is a really cool Esper, and she offers a lot against Kronos 16. And there's a severe difficulty curve in the game, and some bottlenecks. But I hope that was smoothed out in time, and I hope that I can help with that. Thank you for watching.